On this video, we're going to show you a few sample videos of online trainings that you will get as part of our exclusive Smart PDU Bundle. This bundle contains all the courses that you see on this page. Select any topic that you want, finish the course, download your certificate, and submit the PDU credits to the PMI. It's that simple. Here are some of the features that you will get as part of this bundle. 12 months of 24/7 access to the online training platform, pre-assessment and post-assessment tests for each course, printable study guides, digital note-taking for each course, labs, tests, and games, certificates of completion. You can also download these courses onto your iPad or iPhone and watch them later, without even having access to the internet. We'll show you how you can do this. Last but not least, all courses in our Smart PDU Bundle have been created by a registered education provider of the PMI, and we guarantee that you will get full PDU credits for them. Now, let's watch a few sample videos.
While it's vital for you to observe and understand the behavioral styles of your employees, it is equally important that you first examine your own influential behavior. Don't overlook your role in the change process. How will you adjust? Will adopting a change affect your personal behavior, your outlook on company policies, or how you regard your employees? Aside from personality traits and social styles, there are other factors that influence your forward-thinking ability and the length of time it may take you to adapt to change. These factors, sometimes referred to as drivers of behavior, address your thinking style, motivation, sensitivity, role-playing, and reality. How often have you thought about your thinking? Have you ever considered thinking differently? Examples of thinking styles include the synthesis thinker, the idealist, the realist, the analyst, and the pragmatist. You probably have a preference for your own thinking style, and while you may not change that preference, you can learn to reorganize your thoughts. You can also recognize the thinking styles of your employees or change your questioning techniques when approaching challenges. This is simply because most people act upon and follow the requests of those in positions of authority, be it a judge, law enforcement official, or a senior executive in a company. There are several other types of power: personal, position, expert, coercive, and moral and social. And everyone exerts some form of it depending on their job role or organizational position. As a final suggestion, do not be fixated on how many influencing styles or types are prevalent in your organization. Everyone's behavior can be both influenced and influential at one time or another, especially during periods of change or transition. It is necessary to have employees who can be influenced by positive, forward-thinking individuals and can adapt to change without disruption to workplace relationships and job performance. More importantly, as you will see in some of the later parts of this course, companies need to have a blend of behavioral styles for interaction in order to move the change process forward and integrate it into their organizational structure.
According to the 73855 rule, only 7% of communication comes from the words themselves. 38% comes from tone of voice, cadence, and volume. The rest is completely nonverbal, deriving from body language and facial expression. So it can be beneficial to take note of your posture and overall appearance. Do you put your hands in your pockets? Do you gesture wildly? Do you slouch? Like a professional athlete, it can be beneficial to watch your performance on video. Pay attention to your body language and style of delivery, and work to improve the habits that distract from your presentation. The choices you make will vary. Choose the best style for the topic and tenor of the presentation. Factor in your relationships with the people in your audience too. A podium can be a great place to keep your notes and potentially hide some nervous tics. But once you step out from behind the podium, be aware of what you are doing. Are you walking too much? Standing too still? Fidgeting with your clothes? Popping the top of your marker? Jiggling the change in your pocket? All of these things distract people. They make it harder to hear and understand what you were trying to say. Again, think about how would you like to be addressed. Imagine you are watching your presentation. Choose your delivery style accordingly. If you are comfortable, everyone will be more comfortable. This is important because your body language and gestures reveal your true feelings more than your words. They reflect on everything you say. Simple things go a long, long way toward making people open to what you have to say. Therefore, use body language and gestures that exude your confidence. Show the passion you have for your subject. Do not be afraid to smile, laugh a little, pause and collect your thoughts. Make eye contact with people making eye contact with you. They will appreciate it. Keep things positive and upbeat. When you get an encouraging and enthusiastic response, go with it.
When it comes to email, it doesn't really matter how important the message is. Don't get me wrong, there is such a thing as vitally important email. But when it's a matter of connecting with the recipient and making sure the message is actually read, the same rules apply, whether you're informing your department of a mandatory staff meeting or passing along a cookie recipe. When you're sending an email, attitude is key. So what if you're the big boss? Company email is not the place to exercise your authority. Don't bark orders or curtly dismiss requests. When you send emails that are loaded with bullying language, your employees may follow the command, but they'll resent you for it. And really, what good does that do? I'm not saying that you need to coddle people, but it can't hurt to be cordial and specific. Say you're sending an email to let people know that there is a mandatory 4 p.m. meeting for senior staff members. How would you go about getting your message across? In the subject line of your email, you might put something like, "Important, read this," but that is neither helpful nor specific. You might proclaim, 4 o'clock staff meeting mandatory in the subject line. That's certainly more specific, and the use of capital letters is eye-catching, but you haven't really made your point. Although you may clarify in the body of the email that the meeting is for senior staff only, you didn't elaborate in the subject line. That can cause a bit of a problem for the new guy in sales who was planning on leaving at 4 o'clock to get to the dentist. If you'd simply indicated senior staff meeting in the subject line, you would have to let junior staffers off the hook.
One of the more valuable skills to have in life and in business is the ability to negotiate effectively. After all, a successful negotiator can generate valuable returns and preserve relationships in the process. Moreover, successful negotiations can offer creative solutions to problems, present mutually satisfying benefits to organizations, strengthen business relationships, and even prevent conflicts from escalating. Conversely, individuals who lack the proper negotiation skills are at a major disadvantage when it comes to both their professional and personal lives. In fact, poor negotiation skills can cause serious problems. For instance, a lack of proper negotiation skills can result in damaged relationships with colleagues, contracts that put your company at a competitive disadvantage, and the resignation of key employees due to the deterioration of interpersonal relationships. As you can see, learning how to negotiate in a manner that both benefits you and preserves relationships is extremely important to both you and your professional and personal success. Welcome to our course on the art of successful negotiation. During this course, you'll get a comprehensive overview of how to be an effective negotiator. You'll learn that negotiation is not all about defeating your competitors, but rather that negotiation is about reaching a mutually beneficial solution that keeps everyone happy. While not everyone is a born negotiator, this skill can be learned and put into practice. This course contains all the essentials you need to become the best negotiator you can be in both your professional and personal life.
According to Henry Fayol, who developed a general theory of business administration in the early 20th century, control consists of seeing that everything is being carried out in accordance with the plan which has been adopted, the orders which have been given, and the principles which have been laid down. Its object is to point out mistakes in order that they may be rectified and prevented from recurring. When guided by a specific strategy, managers work in a closed-loop system. In other words, their work is not affected by outside factors. Their department is responsible for a specific task, and the parameters of that task are predetermined. Therefore, the manager must make sure the department's output conforms to expectations. This loop can be viewed as a three-step process. The first step is monitoring. For a manager, this entails overseeing production to get a sense of how the process works. In so doing, the manager enforces the standards set by the company. If the manager notices something that will affect the output, he or she proposes the necessary changes. However, problems within a closed loop usually aren't so obvious. This leads to the second phase of the loop: interpret policy and making decisions. Here the manager looks through the departmental output, compares it to the expected product, and determines whether the output is acceptable or falls within an acceptable margin of error. If it doesn't, the manager must go back through the process and determine what went wrong and how it can be fixed. The third phase of the loop is control actions. These are the corrective functions that will help minimize deviation from the standards previously set forth. Control actions are definitive means of effecting change, such as staffing, organizing, and directing. Because this is a closed loop, the cycle is repeated. After the control actions have been carried out, the manager returns to monitoring the process and proceeds through the cycle until the department's output consistently meets the company's standards.